Welcome back, everyone. In this segment, I'm going to go over the offseason changes the Lions have made and tell you how I think it's going to impact the team this year. I'd mentioned in a previous show the Lions draft, which they did get some players. They got Tyreek Williams in the first round, who's a defensive tackle, though I still think they ought to have gotten defensive end long before they did. But he seems like he may be pretty good, but we'll see what happens with that. As well as guard Tate Ratledge, who I think is going to be very integral this season. And I say that because, of course, center Frank Ragnow retired. And I think he only retired because he had no guaranteed money left on his contract. He was awfully young, and he was too good to retire this soon. And my prediction is I believe he's going to be back for the Lions before the end of this season. I don't know when, but with Graham Glasgow a little bit nicked up, they really don't have another center to snap Jared Goff the football. And I think you will see Frank Ragnow back in a Lions uniform before the end of this season. If he's not, I'm going to be very, very surprised by that. The other thing is the Lions also picked up guard Miles Frazier, who was on the PUP list, and he won't be back until, I believe, October, mid-October at that. So he's going to miss really these first 6 crucial games of the season, which is not good. But I don't know how much he would have played anyway. However, with the way the Lions' offensive line is starting to shape up, he might have gotten more playing time than one would expect a rookie to get, especially for the Lions. The Lions also got wide receiver Isaac Tesla, and I think a lot of people know about him, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about him, as I've already made my comments about him previously. But it will be interesting to see what he does, to be sure. And then they got in defensive end Ahmed Hussein in the 6th round. However, he is injured, and he may not be back until the tail end of this season, as he injured his elbow and got cut with an injury settlement. And then you have wide receiver Dominic Lovett, and it'll be interesting to see what he contributes. He probably will be the return person, I would imagine, for both punts and kickoffs. There may be a little bit by Grant Stewart, who's a linebacker, but I'd just soon it be Dominic Lovett. When you have somebody returning punts and kickoffs, you'd rather it be a wide receiver, somebody with surer hands than a linebacker, perhaps is. Although Grant Stewart did a pretty good job in returning kickoffs, but I would rather it be, I would feel a lot better if it was Dominic Lovett or somebody like him. And then trying to remember who else they got, because I don't have my notes in front of me with that. I think that pretty much sums it up, though, because they got a couple of guards, they got a couple of wide receivers, and they got Tyreek Williams, a defensive tackle from the Buckeyes. And like I said, Ahmed Hussein as well. And I think that pretty much was their draft. Like I said, the other thing is Taylor Decker has been out a lot of the exhibition season with a shoulder injury. So hopefully he'll be back in form tomorrow. The Lions are going to need him. But with a makeshift at center and guard, with Kevin Zeitler having left to go to the Titans, it's going to be very, very interesting to see where the Lions are within all this. I suspect at some point they're going to activate Dan Skipper, and they may very well activate him for tomorrow's game. I'm not certain if they've done that as of yet or not. So that pretty much shapes up where the Lions are entering this game. I mean, this is going to be a huge game, to be sure, for the Lions, as they have the first 2 games of the division, the first 2 weeks of the season. And it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens. In the next segment, I'm going to talk about the Packers' new addition and Micah Parsons. Stay tuned to this Detroit Lions season premiere opening special on Ed's Sports Channel.